Okay. So, Mike, who do you think is going to be winning the Super Bowl this year?
So, Adam, it's hard to imagine that Kansas City doesn't win somehow. I mean, Mahomes is just a beast, right? So,
he's crazy.
I mean,
Won the MVP. Yeah, he won the MVP last year. I remembered. Yeah.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and yeah,
I think he's going to do it.
I do too. I mean, Tom Brady's the GOAT to a lot of people, right?
And he is.
I mean, what is this? His 10th or 11th Super Bowl, something like that, something crazy.
Yeah, the most in history. I think. Well, yeah. What did he win? Like 7 or 6 or 7 or something like that.
Yeah. At least 6 that I know. Maybe 7.
Mm-hmm.
A lot more than anyone else has ever won. So
it's crazy.
Yeah, he's pretty good. So yeah, but Mahomes is, I think, the new, just the new badass, right?
So, yeah, definitely. I totally agree with you.
Yeah. Yeah. So, I mean, it should be a good game. I mean, I'm excited to watch it. Where do you watch the Super Bowl? Where do you go watch it?
We should, in my apartment. We have like no parties or anything, but we'd probably just be watching it, after I work.
Gotcha.
So, yeah.
Gotcha. I will be at a friend's house with a bunch of people. Just a Super Bowl party. Yeah.
It's awesome.
Always fun.
Mm-hmm. I started watching football maybe within the past 10 years because when I was younger, it was always just strictly baseball.
Really?
Yeah.
I've always been a just whatever season, that's what I played, kind of guy. And
yeah.
What's up, Rick? Vintage Oddball Cards.
Hello, Rick.
A new YouTube Hall of Famer, Rick.
That's what I heard.
We are talking about the Super Bowl right now, Rick.
Yes, we are. Go Chiefs.
Some football game this weekend. I don't know. We'll see.
Yeah.
I wonder if anybody will watch it. I mean, it's probably going to be the most watched Super Bowl ever just because they can't go out. There's nothing else to do, right?
Mm-hmm.
So, and there's no other sports going on really. I mean, basketball and hockey, but regular season. So no distractions. Mm-mm. I always like the commercials. So I'm excited about watching the commercials, and
it's the best part about it.
I'm not excited about the halftime show. I'm not a big The Weeknd fan. I mean, I don't dislike him. It's just not somebody I'm going, ooh, I can't wait to watch The Weeknd. I don't know who else is playing with him though, but
I'm not really sure.
Rick says, "What's football?" I like that. That's right.
Nice.
Pitchers and catchers report in like a week?
Yes. Very excited about that. Cannot wait till spring training starts.
What do you think about the Lindor trade?
Mike, I had a feeling it's probably going to happen since, they weren't going to be paying him the money for it. I think he was asking for too much. But, well, I'm happy for him, though. He got like what he deserved.
Andy says, "Hey, fellas, is there really a musician named The Weeknd?" Yes, there is.
Yes, there is. Amen to that.
Yeah. And he's playing the Super Bowl halftime show, for crying out loud. So whatever. Yeah, I thought I'm shocked he went to the Mets.
I was too.
How much longer is Cano suspended for? Like the rest of his career for PEDs? I can't remember. I know he's suspended for some period of time, but I don't know how long.
That definitely hurt him a lot.
Yeah.
It's a shame.
Yep.
Like, I'm sure he'll probably be a Hall of Famer. I hope he's in the Hall of Fame, but I don't think it's gonna happen.
No, he's been busted twice. That's just it's a death sentence. He would have been in the Hall of Fame had he not
done
PEDs. Or even been caught using PEDs. It's getting caught. It's the problem.
Mm-hmm.
But that that can lead us into our next discussion about the Hall of Fame and no people getting in, right? Were you surprised by that?
Mike, I thought that Barry Bonds, and Clemens probably would have made it because they were so close. Like what is that, 95% or something like that? I thought they're gonna make it.
Yeah. I mean, they're Hall of Famers.
Yes.
I just wonder,
yeah.
Next year's their last year on the ballot, Bonds and Clemens. And the question is, will the writers, or not the writers, the veterans committees put them in later? I'd be curious if anybody that's watching, what you think. Do you think the veterans, because I don't know that they'll get in next year with the writers, maybe, but you've got Big Papi coming on the ballot, A-Rod coming on the ballot. I don't think A-Rod will get in. A lot of people are saying Big Papi's a shoe-in. I'm not even.
I'm not sure about that either.
We'll see.
About Big Papi,
but I'd like to see Bonds and Clemens get in. I think it's a joke that they're not, but I'm also a big believer in that it was an era of baseball. Not that you have to like it. I don't necessarily like that they use PEDs, but
it happened. Yeah,
it happened. So,
yep. And Curt Schilling too. That was really strange when he actually asked to be off the Hall of Fame. The ballot. I was kind of shocked about that.
Yeah, I mean they can't do that. He can't do that.
No.
He'll be on the ballot next year, but I think
he's
going to be. I mean, Andy's totally right. Schilling should be in.
Yes,
it is BS. I mean, good grief, man. I actually did a comparison. I did a statistical comparison of Curt Schilling because everybody's like saying, well, he didn't have the numbers. He didn't have the numbers. And I looked at it, and it's shocking how similar Curt Schilling's career is to Nolan Ryan.
Yep.
The difference is Nolan Ryan played about 10 more years, but they both, like Nolan Ryan was barely over a 500 pitcher, year to year.
Yeah.
On average. He had some really good years, some really bad years. Well, so did Schilling. Schilling had plenty of years of, under 500. And then he had some brilliant years, right?
Mm-hmm.
And his postseason is just off the charts good.
Oh, it's insane.
I think he's 11-2 in the postseason in his career.
Mm-hmm.
Something to that. And his ERA was 2 something. I mean, he was lights out postseason.
Can't get much better than that.
And 3,000 strikeouts. And, it's just, I don't know why he's not in yet. I kind of agree with Andy.
Should have been a landslide years ago. Yeah.
But you got, the writers, which are mostly left-wing kind of guys, and they don't like Schilling's rhetoric. So there you go.
Yep. I totally agree with you, Mike. But like I said, I think he should have been a landslide first ballot years ago, but I don't know.
Yeah, we don't get to vote. So.
No, we don't.
Oh well. What are you gonna do?
Wish we could. That'd be pretty neat. I would have liked that. But.
I just think it should all be done by a veterans type committee where you have maybe a larger committee, maybe not just 12 people, but you get 50 or 100 former major leaguers, umpires, managers, executives, and you make that the pool that votes for the players instead of the writers. But that won't ever change. I'm just saying I wish it could change.
Yeah.
That'd be a more appropriate election process, I think. But
probably much easier too, and more organized, probably. I would think, but yeah.
But I wasn't shocked that nobody got in. I was disappointed. It's probably the right word. Because it's fun as a collector of Hall of Famer stuff, like I am. I like having new Hall of Famers, and I'm a big Hall guy. Like, now, do I think Harold Baines should be in? No, but I mean, I'm still a big Hall guy. I want as many guys that are deserving to be in the Hall of Fame. I don't think it needs to be. It's already the most restrictive Hall of Fame of all the major sports by far.
Oh, easily.
In terms of the percentage of players that get in, but
like 1%, not even. Yeah,
less than 1%.
Less than 1%.
Andy says you like that idea. Well, nobody's going to listen to me, so good idea or not. Anyway,
I agree.
Anyway, what else, man?
What else? Well, what about those vintage cards and the modern cards, like the Mickey Mantle that? What did it sell for? Like $5 million for a PSA 9? That's unbelievable.
5.2 million.
Yeah. Wow.
Yeah, I'm flabbergasted just at the market in general. The Mike Trout rookie, the US 175. That card is now touching $10,000.
No kidding. Well, I didn't hear anything about that. Wow.
10.
That's fantastic.
Is it?
Well,
talk about that. What do you mean by why is it fantastic? I don't know that all of this is good for the hobby, by the way. So,
well, I know because don't you have a 10? Yeah, you have a 10, don't you?
I do, but the point is I'm not selling it. Why do I don't need it to be $10,000. I mean, it makes it harder for collectors to collect cards because they can't get priced out of stuff. And
yeah, that's valid. Yeah.
I think all of this stuff is there's this perfect confluence of circumstances right now. I'm going to do an entire video about this on my channel, but you get exclusive preview of what I'm going to talk about right here on yours.
Okay.
And think about it this way. There's a behavioral finance theory called I'm drawing a total blank. The wealth effect. Sorry. It's called the wealth effect, right? And if someone and think about it in terms of like your 401k at work or just people in general, if they invest money and it goes up, even though you can't spend like your 401k till you're retired, right? It may be 20, 30 years away. If it goes up, you just feel more wealthy. It has this psychological effect on you. This happiness that you end up ironically going and spending more money just on stuff, even though you're not wealthy in terms of what's in your bank account because your paycheck's the same. It hasn't changed. None of that. But you just feel wealthier because you look at your kind of whole net worth and you're like, dude, I'm worth this much more than I was last time or whatever. And so what happens is people spend more money. And so there's that's going on. People's collections are going up. So they just feel more empowered, more happy, more whatever. And they go buy more cards. What's piling on to that? There's several other factors piling on to what's causing this. And that's actually, this is good for me to do a run through on this just to make sure I got my thoughts all clear. Because if I screw something up, I can correct it later. But so you've got that, the wealth effect. You've got a lot of people in the hobby that are flipping cards, that are buying stuff and then selling it for more, and then using that money, funneling that money back into the hobby, etc. I'll give you an example. Last night I went up into my attic and I found 3 boxes. I'll show you. Hold on.
Oh, sure.
So I found 3 boxes of 1990 Fleer basketball.
Nice.
Unopened boxes, right?
Okay.
These are about $250, $300 a piece.
Wow.
Because everybody wants the Jordan. The PSA 10 Jordan in that set is $900 for some crazy reason. So people want to buy the box, pull the Jordan, hopefully get a good one, and send it in for grading.
It's like their investment, pretty much, yeah.
Right. So what I did was I sold those boxes and a couple of others that I found, some other old 90s basketball stuff, for $800 last night. I sold them in about 5 minutes on the phone with some guys.
Nice.
Well, I took that money and bought cards. And if you think about it, everybody thinks this way. If I was out digging ditches for $800 or doing something manually or just working for $800 and spending my time working, I'm a lot more careful about how I spend that money than let's say I worked for an hour and I got $20, or if I'm walking down the road and I find $20. If I worked for that $20, it's going to bill. It's allocated towards something because I have a budget and all this stuff. If I find $20, man, I'm like, hey, dinner out, or I'm going to go buy a Slurpee or whatever. I mean, you feel much easier about basically pissing that money away. Yep. Because you didn't have to do anything for it. You bent over and picked it up. You found it on the sidewalk or whatever.
Found it for basically nothing. Yeah,
that's right. You didn't have to work for it.
Yep.
Well, that's what's happening with it. I found $800 last night in my attic on things I don't care necessarily.
Wow.
It's cool, but so now guess what? I'm going to go spend it on cards, and I'm not going to really care a whole lot about whether the prices are inflated or not, because I found the money. I have much less. I guess I'm normally pretty frugal with my hobby budget. I try to get the best deal, like most of us do. I mean, who doesn't want the best deal?
Oh yeah.
But now I'm just like, hey, I'm just going to go buy a card that I wouldn't normally buy. I'm going to go piss it away, more or less.
Mm-hmm.
Pay probably more than I should, or more than I would have 6 months ago, for sure. And here you are. You got all this. There's just so much found money that I call it, or house money. You can use a whole bunch of different terms to try to analogize this thought in your brain. But these people are just, if they bought a card for $10, now it's worth $200, and they sell it. They're like, hey, I only paid, I got $10 into this card. I can spend that other money on a bigger card. I can upgrade, so to speak, or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
And people don't think about that the same psychologically as they do money that they earn. And so I think that's happening. So there's those two things, the wealth effect, this found money effect individually. And then you've got big money coming into the hobby. You've got millions and millions and millions and millions of dollars in Wall Street money, hedge funds, and all kinds of different cockamamie schemes that are happening of people putting their money together in essentially a baseball card mutual fund, sports card mutual fund, and they go out and buy these cards, or they buy them as an alternative asset and all that kind of stuff. So there's giant sums of money coming into the hobby. So you have all three of those things happening at once. Oh, and don't forget, everybody's getting stimulus checks, which for most of us who still have a job. I mean, I don't get a stimulus check, but the rest of America that does, you're welcome. I'm paying for your stimulus check. But
thank you.
You're welcome. But the people that get the stimulus checks, if they still have a job and they don't need it to pay their bills, which is most Americans, right? They're getting the stimulus checks and they don't really need it because they're working still. Then that's found money to them too. And they may go buy something that they wouldn't normally buy, or something they want to flip and turn around. Hey, I'm going to go invest in these cards or buy these cards, and hopefully they'll go up in a couple of months and I can sell them and take that money, that found money. And it's a cycle that perpetuates on itself and kind of just spirals up. And that's what you're seeing in prices. So you have found money, not just in the hobby, but stimulus checks. You've got, again, the wealth effect, people just feeling wealthier in general because the stock market's doing well and people just feel, oh, man, we're doing all right, And then you've got the Wall Street money hitting the hobby.
The roof.
It's just like, here you go. And this is what you get. You mix all that in a bowl and you stir it all together. That's your recipe. Card market blows up. Wax market blows up, all of it. And that's why you see a Jordan rookie go from 300,000 one week to 750,000 the next week. I mean, it's
crazy,
absolutely nuts. And I don't think what's funny is that cycle, that spiraling up, that what stops it? I don't know what stops it.
Supply and demand, maybe popularity. I don't know. Well,
collecting cards is cool again. I mean, it's in mainstream media. I mean, it's all over the place. You're not a dork anymore. I always felt like a dork collecting cards. Like I was, I'm sure a lot of us out there were embarrassed about, I collect baseball cards. I mean, you just say it under your breath and they're like, oh my gosh, this guy's a total weirdo. And so it was kind of this closet hobby, right? There were the people within the community that, we all know were cool, but hey, not everybody else did in the world. And so it's now cool again to collect cards.
Yep.
I had a person text me today. In fact, I don't even know who this is because it's a local area code, but I don't know. I didn't recognize. It's not a phone number that was saved. It's just some phone number. Hey, Mike, this is today at 1:42 on my phone. It says, hey, Mike, I've got a coworker who has a bunch of baseball cards and heard about the recent craze. He's trying to figure out the best way to get them appraised. Any tips? And I said, you can have him give me a call. That's what I said. And they said, okay, I'll tell them. So first of all, I don't even know who that is, which is funny. And
that is pretty funny.
Like, okay, everybody's talking about it. And I think that's also in, but what's funny is everybody's going to pull out all their junk wax. And although some of it can be valuable, it's typically, the junk wax stuff is typically only valuable if it's been graded and it's like a 10. If you have
condition,
if you have a PSA 7 of a 87 Topps Hall of Famer, it's not worth very much money, no matter
pennies,
even still.
Yeah.
So it's just, it's funny how it's become cool again. It's funny how people, what's up, Zombie?
And it's so much fun to do too. I enjoy it. Kind of like you, it's fantastic. It's fun to do. Yeah.
And that's the part that's probably the most depressing about what's happening in the hobby. Everybody's like, oh, it's great for the hobby. This is great for the hobby.
Mm-hmm.
It's not great for my hobby, if that makes any sense. Like, it's great for everybody else. I get, if you're selling cards, yes, it's very good. For my hobby, I'm having to settle for lower grades because we all have a hobby budget. You gotta, and it's not that it's not still fun. I'm not trying to say that I'm just this depressed collector, but it is harder to find deals. It's hard, you got to really be patient. And I've noticed this too, Adam, is that the card market is for sure going up, especially on the high end stuff, like the super high end stuff. The middle market, the middle to low end stuff, not a little bit, but not as crazy. But the autograph market has really not done a whole lot, which has really surprised me.
Very surprising.
I'm buying Hall of Fame autographs for the same prices that I bought them for 6 months ago, a year ago. They haven't really changed a whole lot. And that's just surprised me. Now, is that the next thing that might take off? I don't know.
I don't know.
But I'm obviously in that world, all the way up to the chin kind of thing. I watch it all the time, and I'm always buying new autographs and stuff. And it just really hasn't changed a lot. So I've really kind of shifted and that's I keep switching topics on you a little bit, but that's okay. I think.
Oh, that's okay.
The great thing about our hobby is there's so many different ways to collect. There's so many different things to buy. Me, especially, I have 100 different projects going on at any given time. And so I go, okay, that's too much. I'm going to let me go look at these things. And, maybe I can deal with that. Maybe I can find some deals on that side of the hobby, on that side of my collection. And then if it shifts back, I'll shift, I can maneuver within the hobby and still enjoy it and still find things that I think are still a good deal. Zombie Collector Jason says, Mike, don't tell people that about the autographs, I think is what he's talking about. And Rick's totally right. Do you see what Rick said there? He said prices for iconic players and cards will never go down. It's the new norm. I totally agree with that.
I do too.
Now, can they recede a little bit? Maybe. Yeah.
Possibly.
But Hall of Famer stuff has been underappreciated in the hobby, I think, for a long time. It's finally getting its due. Again, not good for my hobby because that's what I focus on.
Yeah.
But the Hank Aaron's, the Willie Mazes, the Mickey Mantles, those guys, they're finally, getting to where they probably should have been a couple of years ago. They're getting the appreciation. Yeah. So, I don't know. That's a whole lot of stuff I just threw at you.
Mike, I appreciate it. I just learned a lot too. I think that was pretty neat.
What'd you like?
About the different things and everything about the autograph. Like, I'm just surprised that the autographs haven't gone up in price. I thought that would be skyrocketing.
I am too.
I am very, very surprised. I don't own many autographs of myself. I have a few Bob Fellers, which I might have shown you, but I'm not sure. I got one on a baseball and a few on the cards. I got a Pete Rose autograph, and what else do I have? Might have been. I got an Al Kaline autograph on a 66 Topps.
Nice,
which is pretty cool. But still, though, I'm very surprised that they haven't gone up in price.
Yeah. So Jake just said he's been looking at Koufax autos, and he says they're still pretty reasonable, and he's right. They're about the same price that they were a couple of years ago. They're about $300. You can find them for $200 to $300 if you look hard enough, which is not crazy. Like it's
no.
And a lot of Hall of Famers are still doing TTM. You know, you can send to Brooks Robinson for $10 a card and get his autograph.
Wow.
Like
that's pennies.
Pretty reasonable.
Very reasonable. And it helps that they're still alive too, which helps the price. I know, like if they pass away, I heard that they just go through the roof.
Well, the autographs do.
The autographs do, yeah.
The autographs actually go up more than the cards. I did a whole episode about what happens when people die, and the cards go up initially. Like there's a spike, but it's very short term. I was surprised, honestly, what I found when I did the research. I thought it would be they went up and stayed up, but they didn't. They went up and they went back down. Oh. Now, well, that's in the previous card environment. We're in a weird card environment now, a hobby environment. So that might not necessarily be true today, but it's been true in the past. And the autographs go up and stay up because they will never sign anymore. Hank Aaron autographs will never be cheaper than they were a few weeks ago before he passed away. They will always be higher going forward. And Rick's right. He says, buy Mays autographs. No doubt. If you don't have a Mays autograph in your collection and you want one,
I should probably try to find one. You need to have any of those.
You need to go get it now. I remember buying at the Dallas show a couple of months ago, November, October, whenever I went. I bought a Mays autograph for $60. Slabbed Perez Steel for $60.
Not bad.
It's like
not bad.
All day I'll do that.
Oh yeah.
And, I mean, any Mays autographs, around $100 plus or minus $15-20 is a good deal.
Which still isn't bad.
Which still isn't bad, but they will double or triple if he dies or when he dies.
When he passes, yeah.
I mean, none of us are living forever. So
no.
How many Mays? I wonder. Like I'm telling you, Mays is a good idea. I need to probably go buy some more. Well, I need to
consider it. I have to consider that. Yeah.
I have 12 Mays autographs in my collection. So, can you ever have enough? The answer is probably yes. It's just not for me. It's not yet for me. But you know, Koufax has always been where he is. Mantle stuff is always expensive, even on Hank Aaron stuff's going to be expensive now. If you go look for everything's double what it was.
Mantle's cards are crazy expensive. Especially in very good condition, thousands of dollars easily.
Jason says, what are your thoughts about autographed checks that are PSA DNA of Hall of Famers? Frank has me juiced and looking nonstop. First of all, Frank's collection is unfreaking believable. Have you watched Frank's channel yet?
I have to check it out.
It's his channel's called Baseball Hall of Fame Autographs.
Okay.
And he just got to YouTube. I've been friends with him on the Blowout forums for a long time. Met him at the National a couple years ago. He is a super great guy, very smart guy, and he's got a just amazing collection. And he does a lot of checks. And I think people like that medium because it's kind of different. It's kind of cool, you know, a player signing their own, you know, writing a check to pay their electric bill or whatever they're doing.
Yeah.
Is kind of neat. And I think they're awesome, Jason. I guess the simple answer to your question is I think they're awesome. I have a few in my collection, not a ton. My Ty Cobb autograph is a check.
I remember watching that video. That's pretty neat.
And I had it forever. Wow. But like Ty Cobb, there are literally thousands and thousands of his checks that are on the market. His family released them after he died. So those can still be had relatively reasonable. I mean, nothing with a comma in it is reasonable, but it's
no,
you know, they're $1,300, $1,400, which is a lot. I mean, that's a lot of money, but I'm just saying it's
worth it.
Crazy. It's Ty Cobb, you know.
One of the best players of all time.
He is. I think, Jason, any of those you can get, I think they're just cool, man. I just think they're just a different way to look at it, and they're a little slice of that player's life and all that. I just think they're awesome. Rick says buying Mays autographs on playing day cards is the way to go. I totally agree, Rick. The problem with that is they are super expensive, way more expensive than your typical Mays autograph. I've been looking because I don't have any Mays playing day cards, and I'm a big player era card guy. I've kind of shifted focus over the last year or so to get those instead of just cuts or, index cards or whatever. But those are super expensive now. So maybe it is shifting a little bit. Certain, not all autographed items, right? Like I was saying, but there are certainly some autographed items that are probably going up, and that's one area I would say is.
Yeah, your autograph collection, Mike, is fascinating. Like, it's really cool to see. Very impressive.
It's taken me a long time to get it.
I can only imagine. Very neat, though. Very cool to see.
Jay is here, autograph guy. What's up, Jay?
Welcome, everybody, to the show. I appreciate it.
Yeah. Thanks, everybody, for coming to watch.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, you need to start what I love about autographs, and not everybody's into autographs, and that's okay. I get it. But what drew me to that was the thought that player interacted with that item somehow, especially an on-card autograph, right? You've got they touched it, right? They had to sign it.
Has their DNA on it. Yep.
Has their DNA on it. That's a great, good point. And to me, there's Duke Snider right there.
Oh, Mr. Duke Snider.
He touched this card. This is I'm going to do a whole video on this set right here. I've discovered a new set, and I'm so stoked about it, but I can't give too much away. Sorry.
It's all good.
But they signed that, right? They touched it. They interacted with that item, and it's, to me, a little more personal, although maybe that's kind of creepy. I don't know where that falls on the creepy scale, but I just like autographed items. I think it's different. You can buy a card of that player anytime you want. There's only so many autographs, and like Bob Feller, you're one of your favorite players, right? He signed 1 billion things.
Oh, easily.
Right? I mean, mildly facetious, but he signed a ton.
Yeah.
There are still cool Bob Feller items you can find that are kind of unique and different. And those are the things I look for, are the different and unique. So I love that kind of stuff. But autographs are fun, man. It's the only place you're going to find cheaper stuff now, I think, relatively speaking.
Thank you, Mike. I'll definitely check that out.
Zombie thinks he's sexier now that he's a Hall of Famer.
Oh my!
You Hall of Famer.
I liked your video on the Hall of Fame, on your Hall of Fame. That was really good.
Andy is asking if there's a Leaf version of the Hall of Famer Hero set. Okay, I'm going to do a whole video. I've discovered this set. I'm telling you, it's so cool. Wait for me to do the video. It'll probably be next week, but I'm going to do it on that set. Just don't. I mean, you can go do some research, but I'm just saying it's going to be. I'm excited about showing it because I don't discover new things very much in the and I don't mean that to sound totally cocky, but I've been doing this 40 years, right? I've seen a lot of stuff, and when I found this set, I was like, holy crap, because it's Dick Perez, it's Hall of Fame. I mean, it's like,
great quality. Yeah.
So yes, Andy, there is a Leaf version, but hold that thought. I
think the only Dick Perez stuff I own, Mike, are the Donruss Diamond Kings, but even those are pretty cool.
Well, yeah, they're cool.
Yeah, they're fascinating drawings.
I remember as a kid, Diamond Kings came out in 82. I started collecting in 81. And when Diamond Kings came out, because I used to buy a lot of Donruss and Fleer because they were cheaper than Topps, like a nickel cheaper or whatever. And my parents would buy me those cards because they were cheaper. They'd buy me those packs. And I remember always wanting to get all of the Diamond Kings. I just thought that was so cool because I just thought it was different. It was a painting. It was, art, and a mixture of art. And I've loved Dick Perez since 1982. And then I just went nuts with him. But Jay has a question for us. I know you guys are baseball guys, but I had a major addition to my 85. Oh, he's just telling us. That's awesome.
Oh, even better.
13 years. Are you doing that set autographed, Jay? I think you're doing it autographed, aren't you? Or is that just because, you can put together an 85, 86 set. I think you're doing it autographed. Tell me if you're doing autograph. So he's also asking, have I ever thought about getting an older baseball set and getting it completely signed, going all in like an 85 Topps? I see guys that do that. Jeremy IPTTM is one of those guys. He's doing, complete sets. Yeah. Jay's confirming that he's doing it completely autographed. That's insane, by the way. That is so cool. Yeah. So cool. But for me, with as many projects as the idea of starting more projects makes my head hurt. And it certainly makes my wallet hurt. So
it gets expensive. Yeah.
Probably not. Although it's cool. I love the idea, like the idea of it. I'd love it if someone just gave me one. I'd happily accept it and think it was totally awesome.
Nice.
But nobody's going to be doing that. I don't know. But do you watch Jeremy's channel, Jeremy IPTTM?
I don't think I've seen his. No.
He's doing complete sets and they're awesome.
Nice. Vintage complete sets are like from the 80s and 90s. Are they modern or vintage complete sets?
Vintage-esque, mid 80s, early 80s.
Early 80s, okay.
Yeah, not really vintage. Vintage to me is 80 and before.
Yeah, it's like, yep.
And Jay makes a good point. Those, like a 85 Topps set is 792 cards. That's a lot of autographs, and I'm sure some of the guys are passed away. So you'd have to get those on the secondary market. I don't know. That seems like a huge challenge, and I'm not afraid of challenges. I just have enough of them already, that I don't necessarily need another one.
Yeah.
Jay, I didn't see that. I need to go watch that video. I don't know that I saw. He said he posted a video of him adding the Yzerman to the binder. I need to go watch that.
Oh.
Stevie Y. Steve
Yzerman.
Yep.
One of the best hockey players of all time.
Yeah, Detroit Red Wings. I guess he played. What did he play for? The Coyotes, I think, too.
I think he did. Yeah. Hockey Hall of Famer. Yep.
Really good. So yeah.
Very neat.
What else, Adam?
Well, Mike, I think. Talking about the cards. What about that Derek Jeter SP? That's another one that's going through the roof. What did it sell for? Like $100,000 for a 10, or it might have been more than that.
I think it was. No, that sounds right. I don't
$100,000.
remember the number. I knew there was a big SP Jeter sale.
Yeah.
All the numbers just start kind of getting confusing in my head. But see you, Andy.
Yeah, I remember I showed you that. I bought a raw one of those a while ago. I think I paid about a little under $100 because it had like some tears in it. For me, though, for a raw one, I'll take it. And it's an original. It's not a reprint.
Right.
Gary's
asking what a really funny and good question. When we started collecting in 81, was 79 vintage? No. Which makes you wonder, why doesn't vintage move along with time, right? Why doesn't it just, if another year passes, shouldn't vintage move up a year, right?
You would think.
But for whatever reason, I don't know why it doesn't. That's a great point, Gary. I don't know. It wasn't vintage. I do remember feeling like if I got any older cards than the current year, I felt like I was getting a good, like if I got it traded with a friend or whatever, I felt like, man, I'm getting an old card, it's an old 75 Topps. It's really old. It's not. It was like
colorful. Yeah.
6 or 7 years old at the time, which would be like today buying a, 2015 card. That's not that big a deal. But I don't know. I don't know why that became the delineation of vintage versus. I look at the cardboard world as eras, like you have
50s, 60s and stuff.
You have the pre-war era, right? Everybody calls that the pre-war era because it was the pre-war era. Then you have from basically 48 Leaf and Bowman to 1980, in my opinion.
Vintage.
Kind of the vintage card era. And I think now we're just in. Then you had you had the 80s. I don't like calling it the junk wax era. Maybe there probably needs to, I can't remember. Somebody said it one time. Somebody had a good name for that era. I just can't.
Junk wax.
I don't like junk wax. It just sounds mean.
No.
But you had this era from 1980 to 2000, and then I think now is just the modern era. But I don't know. I can't remember what that junk wax era. Somebody called it. Somebody had a really clever and appropriate name for it. I just can't remember.
Yeah, I can't remember either. I just remember, open up those packs, that bubble gum crunch sounds like carrots when you're trying to eat it.
Yeah.
Yep. Fun to open though.
Was 93 Topps when the cardboard stock changed. It was 93 or 92.
Yeah.
I don't have one.
I remember Fleer did the stickers. I remember.
Yeah.
And Topps did the gum, and Donruss did the puzzles.
That's right.
I remember that.
81 Donruss actually had gum.
No, wow, I did not know that.
It did.
Huh. Interesting.
Is George Sisler auto index card PSA DNA at 225 a good deal? I wouldn't call it a screaming good deal, Jason. That's reasonable.
Yeah.
George Sisler is, but so 81 Donruss had gum, and then Topps sued them, and they had to get rid of gum, so they started the puzzles.
Oh, that makes sense.
And Fleer did stickers. They wanted to put something in there for the kids, right, so to speak. I remember I had stacks and stacks of stickers, and I put all the puzzles together back in the day of Donruss, and
wasn't the first puzzle? That's the 82 was the Hank Aaron one, wasn't it? If I remember correctly, I think it was. I can't remember.
Maybe
it might have been the Hank Aaron or the Roberto Clemente.
I think Clemente was later.
Oh yeah, Clemente. Oh, you're right, Mike. Clemente was in 87.
Clemente was 87.
87. Yeah, that's right.
Let's see who the puzzle was, and luckily,
might have been Pete Rose.
Definitely not Pete Rose because he was still playing.
Oh, that's correct. Yeah, you're right.
83 was Ty Cobb.
Ty Cobb, that's right. Lou Gehrig?
82 was.
I can't remember.
Babe Ruth.
Oh, Babe Ruth. So Hank Aaron was in 86?
Yes.
That's right. I get some of the years confused.
But those were always fun to put the puzzles together.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
I just remember, open up all the packs to get like one of those puzzle cards in each pack. It's like, oh, good. I got 100 of these pretty cards. It's pretty good.
Yeah.
Why not? Yeah.
Mike, were you trading baseball cards at school when you were a kid? Was it a big thing in the schoolyard? Of course. Yes. Yes.
I did the same. Yep. I remember one of the first cards I traded, Mike, when I was, I think, like not even 10 years old. It was a Ron Gant from 1992 Topps.
Nice.
Forgot who I got it from. It might have been a common or a Ripken card, but either or. I'll take it.
I also remember back in those 80s days, first of all, like 84, like Alvin Davis was a big rookie. Mattingly, obviously, Darryl Strawberry. Dwight Gooden, these were all like the big rookies at the time. You had Fernando Mania back in 81. But I remember if I got like a Drake's card or some, weird non-mainstream, we call it flagship now. We didn't call it flagship then. We just called it Topps. There wasn't flagship and there wasn't all these other things. There was just Topps. And then you might have some of these other goofy deals. But I remember if I got one of those weird goofy deals, I thought, man, this is awesome. Like a Drake card of Reggie Jackson or something. I always thought was so cool. And I'd trade for those. I'd trade away, my mainstream cards for that. So I don't know. Probably a lot of people did that. I don't know. But I loved collecting as a kid. I mean, it's a different world, but I still love collecting now. But
it's like those Kmart cards. I remember collecting those Kmart cards. Same thing. Yep.
And through the late 80s, remember they had all those little box sets that you could buy at like Revco.
Yeah.
All the different the superstar set, and Fleer did most of them, and then Donruss had their little highlight sets, and I think those started in '85. Mangini's here, so he'll tell me if that's true. I think '85 started the highlights and
Donruss highlights. I remember those. Yep.
Yeah. Then they came out with special rookie sets, in the late late '80s, all that.
Yep.
Stuff. And then there's
I like those rookie sets. Those rookie sets are pretty cool.
Yeah.
Get a Griffey, or you can pull a Barry Bonds or something like that.
Absolutely.
Andres Galarraga.
Cool.
Yep. Yeah, they also had the Donruss traded set, I remember, from '89. I think I have that one in my closet somewhere. It's like a yellow box or something like that. Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, pretty neat.
Well, dude, I need to get running.
Okay, Mike.
But I really appreciate you having me on your show.
Of course. You're welcome anytime.
Lots of fun.
Oh, yeah. Thank you again for joining me.
Absolutely.
That was fun. It always is.
Well, thanks everybody for watching.
Thank you, everybody. Appreciate it. Hope you all enjoyed it. We sure did.
We did.
Oh yeah, that was great.
All right. Talk to you guys soon. Keep collecting.
Yes, sir. Keep collecting. Thank you again, everybody. Have a good evening. Be safe.